Hey everybody, how you doing, John?
Are we live? Hi, man. How you doing? I knew that. I'm just playing with you. Good
We're
morning,
live.
good afternoon, and good evening.
We got some friends on my Digital Art Drew YouTube channel. So Mirja from Sweden is here. She says, "Nice to
Hi.
see you both, Andrew and John. Very interesting website." You all right, John?
I'm so sorry. It went down the wrong way. I'm good. Hi, Mira.
Things happen. And we got Soulful Reason handbags from Indiana.
Wow. Hello.
We got what is it, Lynn from Sacramento, California.
Hey, Lynn. And you got your face on there. Good to see you.
And Stephen from Prescott Valley, Arizona. You all right,
Stephen,
John?
I hope that's not your face, Stephen.
You all right, John, too?
I'm gonna judge you though.
Gathered yourself all in.
I might need to take a
Need a good cry?
You just carry on. I'll be over here. I'm good. All right. I'm so happy.
Richard Hyde is from Richard Hyde.
Hello, Richard.
Good to see you, Richard. So yes, here we are today for Photoshop Generative Fill and Generative Expand with me, Andrew Kavanagh, and my friend John Williams. And so lots of updates and changes today. So first one, I want to read a little bit of my notes and then show you some things. But in general, you used to have to download the Photoshop beta to access Generative Fill. But if you've done the latest updates that came out today and even yesterday in your Adobe Creative Cloud app, there's now a version 2.25.0, which when installed will be shown as Adobe Photoshop 2024 when you open it top left.
Yeah.
Whereas the 24.7 version is just Adobe Photoshop 2023. So therefore, the Photoshop 2024 version is now where you can do Generative Fill and Generative Expand for commercial use. So
yes.
You can feel free to use that in your images any which way you
want. Sorry. All right. Yeah, pretty awesome.
Okay. And then I also have some links that I will share on the YouTube and in the Facebook groups about more information in general. But I also wanted to also state that Adobe Firefly is out of beta. So I believe that's also part of Adobe Creative Cloud and in the Adobe Express premium paid plans. Yeah. And the content can now be used for commercial purposes. Now, I do believe for the premium plan for Adobe Firefly, that'll be $4.99 a month. And I just wanted to show this to start some conversation. I believe for now, there is not a limitation for how many images you can create with, generative AI. But coming November 1st, that will change a bit. And so, this.
Yeah.
So free users with an Adobe ID, Adobe Express, Adobe Firefly, or Creative Cloud will get 25 monthly generative credits. If you are on the Adobe Firefly premium plan, which I said is only $5 per month, you get 100 credits. If you are on the Adobe Express premium plan, you get 250 monthly generative credits. If you are on the Photoshop single app, that's 500. And if you are part of the Creative Cloud all apps, that's 1,000 monthly generative credits. Considering this is information that will be changing, I believe, in November, there will be obviously ways that while you're working, if it states that you're running out of credits, you'll be able to click on something to get more information and to add more credits. They're not going to just leave you hanging. So let's see. Steven says it still has the 1024 by 1024 limits. I'm not sure about that. I haven't had time to jump into it, which we will today, and we can take a look. And then Steven says, I'm rather happy that having the full Adobe suite means I get 1,000 generative credits. Yes. So, I mean, that is a good incentive to join the Adobe Creative Cloud all apps plan. Hey guys from West Coast.
Mhm.
Susan's here. And yes, Susan says 1024 by 1024 confirmed.
Sounded right. Yeah.
So
Thank you for confirming that.
so if not soon, then at least probably by November 1st, they will upsize the dimensions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Terry White said it was still 1024 by 1024.
Good enough for me, old Terry White.
Okay. So any questions before we jump on into Photoshop Generative Fill and Generative Expand fun?
Yeah.
So let's see. As I said, I will be sharing some links for the Adobe updates and pricing. It's a bit of a long one, and you won't be able to click on it anyways if I share it now. But I will be sharing that in the my YouTube channel, Digital Art Drew, as well as in the Facebook groups. But yes, there is some slight pricing changes in the plans. I believe for independent and all apps plans, it's not so bad. I think maybe the yearly one was the biggest rate increase I saw. Good to see you here, Ellie. And we got someone from Swansea, New Hampshire. And someone says, what are credits for the photography plan? So as I said, coming November 1st, so like the Photoshop single app plan, 500, I expect that the photography plan would be in that same range. And then if you are on the Creative Cloud All Apps plan, that would be 1,000 monthly generative credits.
Right.
And then Susan says photography plan will have no increase, but I'm not quite sure what the number is, if it's 500 or not. Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't say here in this list we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there is a whole site. So let me share my screen and go to those pages real quick to show you. Okay. So yeah, so it's a bit long. So like I said, I will share that with the groups and on my YouTube, but it's basically blog.adobe.com/en/publish/2023 9/13 AI Creative Cloud release pricing update ? I said.
Yeah. Okay. Let's give everybody about 5 seconds to write all that down.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Good. Hope you got
That's
it.
all you got. You wrote it all down, right? Okay. So as you can see here, when I share that link, you'll have the all new AI powered Creative Cloud release and pricing update. So as you go through here, it tells you what the changes are. It's pretty thorough. And when you get down towards the mid toward bottom, then it tells you, new Creative Cloud innovation, what are some of the changes, but then it starts getting into pricing. So here it is. So what prices are changing? Creative Cloud for individual single apps plan now include generative credits, Adobe Express and Adobe Firefly. So there will be a $2 USD, United States, $2 increase for the annual build monthly option. Previously, $20.99 will be $22.99. $3 increase for the month-to-month option. Previously, $31.49 will be $34.49. And US $24 increase for the annual prepaid option, which is what I was saying, that's the biggest increase is the annual prepaid, which will go from $239.88 to $263.88 per year. And I believe that is obviously for the, that's it. The way it's written here is slightly incorrect because I believe for the 239, do you know, John, if the 239 that's going up to 263?
Right either, but I'm sure that covers more than what it's listed.
Right. It sounds like that's for the all apps plan.
That sounds right to me.
Instead of single apps plan.
So it you might see that change in the next year too, I hope.
Right. So Creative Cloud for individual all apps plan now includes generative credits, Adobe Express, and Firefly. $5 increase for the annual build monthly option. So instead of $54.99, it'll be $59.99 per month. Not too bad. $7.50 increase for the month-to-month option. So previously $82.49 will be $89.99. And the $60 increase for the annual prepaid option. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the annual seems to get that biggest increase.
Yeah.
And then Creative Cloud for Teams now includes the generative credits, Adobe Express, and Firefly. There's only a $2 increase for Teams for single app plans, including Pro Edition. So from $35.99 to $37.99. And USD $5 increase for Teams All Apps plan, which isn't too bad for a Teams. So previously $84.99 will be $89.99.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is blog.adobe.com, etc., which I'll be sharing. And then I also have a helpx.adobe.com Firefly information about what generative credits are. And so it says right here, note, until November 1st, Creative Cloud, Adobe Firefly, Adobe Express, and Adobe Stock paid subscribers won't be subject to generative credit limits. Starting November 1st, credit limits will apply. And
I believe that the Photoshop team said that they'd be adding to the FAQ as well.
Right. I would imagine this will, be updated and expanded.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to be as informative as possible for now. Well, Stephen says, note that there are plans that are not going up. Right. But the majority, it looks like, are going up, at least subtly. So that's that. So that's the info. And like I said, I'll be sharing the links later. And that, as John said, will probably be revised and updated. But that is the most informative information we have as of now. But let's have some fun.
Yes. Enough of that.
Okay. So the first thing I wanted to go over, though, is, let's see, share my screen here. Okay. So I have a little graphic here. It's a little small. Let's see if I can expand that. Yes. Okay. So you'll notice here that right now, as of today, if you had the previous Photoshop version 24, it's now 24.7.1. The Photoshop beta, if you have updated today, is now version 25.1. Mm-hmm. And then what happened to me is when I did the general updates, I did not see Photoshop version 25.0, which is the one that I'm using today, which is where the Photoshop Generative Fill and Expand capabilities are now built into. So you might have to go into your applications folder and then drag it to your dock, or right click and add it to your desktop.
Yeah, I had to do that as well.
And then I just wanted to quickly show you, if I go to my Creative Cloud.
Hey, Andrew, if I can point out real quick, also, I don't know, that maybe it's just there was a setting or something. It didn't automatically show up on my Creative Cloud app, but if you go up to the top right corner, check for updates.
That's what I'm about to do, John.
Oh, you are? I'm jumping the gun. Go ahead.
Okay, so here I am in the, and that's just the images at the bottom are, which I like that they do this now. They show you when you're in the home section of your Adobe Creative Cloud app. These are my Adobe Express images I've worked on. So here I am in the Adobe Creative Cloud app. I'm in the home section. If I click on the second section for apps and I click on updates, the most important thing to remember is you don't just click on updates on the top left. Mm-hmm. You go to check for updates in the top right. So you click on updates after you've clicked on apps, mm-hmm. Then you click on check for updates, and then it does this little checking for updates.
Hey.
And then it'll tell you if you have an update, and this will be blue on the right where you can install the update. So as you can see here, I have Photoshop version 24.71, Photoshop beta 25.1, and Photoshop 25.0. There's also a update for Bridge version 14.00, updated 2 days ago, mm-hmm. and Camera Raw 15.5.1. So if you also use the Camera Raw filter through Bridge, you want to do that, and you want to do the Bridge update. Okay, so that is that. So what I'm going to do is I have a few images where I'm going to start. Now, There has been the issue where sometimes when you click on an image, it will default and open it up in, say, the Photoshop 24 version, as opposed to the new version, which is Photoshop version 25. So what I tend to do while they're maybe getting those bugs out is I just have a folder of images. I click on one image and I just drag it to my dock to the Photoshop 2024 version. And then it opens it up. And you will see in the top left, it says Photoshop 2024. And so I have this simple image. Here's my contextual taskbar, which I will put to the left. Hit F. So we have this kind of view. And then you don't have to create like a new layer or anything. Now, people were saying that you can just do like a simple type of selection with, say, a rectangular marquee. But I do think that it might be more successful if you use the lasso tool. So the freeform lasso tool is what I tend to like to use.
Yeah.
I do a loose selection around the person or object, as I'm doing now. So it's a loose selection, but it's basically following that form as opposed to just using like a square, like a rectangular marquee. So it makes a selection, then the generative fill pops up. Now, if I wanted to replace her with something, I would click generative fill and it would say, what would you like to generate? And I could type that in. But in this case, I just want to see how well it does getting rid of her from this rooftop, which could be in New York City. And I hit generate. You can see the little progress bar, and then the properties panel pops up. Move that over. It's pretty fast. So it's pretty seamless. Pretty good, right, John?
I love it. Amazing.
And the thing that I love about it as well is it also gives you,
sorry.
It also gives you variations. So just always make sure you check your properties panel, which you can also, if it doesn't pop up, which it should, you can also find it in window, under the window menu, and properties. So you have variations. You were saying?
I had a question, Andrew. What is the size of your image? Somebody wanted to know.
Okay, so my original size is 3648 pixels by 5472 at 72, or under inches, it's about 50 inches by 76. And that's right. Osvaldo says it's like magic.
Like magic.
So the thing that I love about it is when it does this, it creates its own generative fill layer. You can see that it creates a layer mask, and you can obviously turn it on, turn it off. And then when you go to your properties panel, you don't have just the one, you have 2, 3 different variations. So if I turn this off, and I look at the kind of top frame that she's sitting on, I can decide that the way it's rebuilt itself, do I think this one is most successful, or this one, or this one? And I think all of them look good. So
any of them would work.
Yeah. Maybe even this one is fine. So that's that.
Amazing.
And wanted to jump back to folder where I wanted to try a similar but slightly more challenging image. So here's another one, but will this rebuild it looks like this is Paris. Will this rebuild like a Paris apartment buildings, or, this general building over here? So that's going to be the challenge here.
One way to find out.
So one way to find out is I have my lasso tool. I'm just going to do a loose but similar selection around her.
Careful, careful,
careful, careful,
careful.
On the hand. And I go up. And I do want to go a little bit loose around because I do want to add some of that information that's around her, because I wanted to read that to rebuild. So I click on Generative Fill, bring this down here, and I'm just going to hit Generate.
And
then you see the progress bar, top middle, and then you'll see in the properties panel over on the right, the different variations. So I'm mostly concerned is how well it's going to rebuild. Yeah, as Dennis says, Generative Fill has been really helpful in many of the retouch. So that's pretty amazing. So here we are before we had her sitting up vertically, which obstructed the building in the distance. Now with Generative Fill turned on, you can see it rebuild that part of the building that she was sitting on, and rebuilt very well, I think, the building in the distance. Pretty cool, right, John? And then we go here. I think that's even better. So here's the first one. I'm not sure if it has this dip in the original, but they suggested that. And then the second one, it's kind of directly down. I think this is cleaner.
It is.
And then the third one, it's good, but a little bit kind of more beat up on this thing. So I think this one is the best.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Remarkable. And it, look at that background. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty nice. So let's see, just go to here. And then I want to do just one more of this series and then let John take it away.
Oh, you're doing great.
So here's another challenge. So it's a similar challenge. I'm just wondering how well it'll do rebuilding the structure here and then the background kind of landscape.
Oh man. Yeah.
So once again, I prefer to use the lasso tool, the regular lasso tool.
Right.
And then just do a freeform selection, slightly loose around the person or the subject or object.
Right.
Go around. Make sure I get the full figure. Bring it up. Pretty good.
That's good.
So once again, I just click on Generative Fill. I hit Generate.
One thing to always keep in mind is the shadows, which you obviously have,
That's right.
Yeah, gotten.
Pretty amazing, right?
Okay. Okay.
So there's one, and you just you look in the background. Do you like the formations of the trees and the flow of the hills or the landscape? So here's another one with slightly different flow, but still did a great job on this kind of top surface. It's even really, to be honest, it's hard to decide which one I like most, you know?
Right.
And then now I'm curious about something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Generative Fill layer. I'm going to command click on the layer mask to get that selection back. So there's the selection. I'm going to turn off the Generative Fill layer, click on the background layer as if I'm starting fresh, click on Generative Fill, but this time I want to see about replacing her with somebody else. So what should I replace her with, John?
Let's see. How about a clown?
How about a what?
I was saying, how about a clown? Or just
a seated clown,
or a guy in a suit, maybe. I
like clown. That's a bit more
clown,
kind of fun.
maybe, or
seated clown.
Seated.
So I just typed that in where it said, Generative Fill. Then I hit Generate. And
these results are horrifying. We just want to throw that out there right now. We're not responsible for any trauma induced.
Whoa, that's kind of.
There you go. See, I'm
one-legged clown with a wished face.
Sometimes the results are less than perfect. We had a question, Andrew.
Yes.
Let's see. One user wanted to know: the Generative Fill, do we have to use PS25? Does this replace our old version of Photoshop, or will we use two versions?
So the version 25.0, which, as I said, will come up as Photoshop 2024, that now has Generative Fill, Generative Expand right in that version of Photoshop. If you were to go to the version 24.7.1 of Photoshop, that would be Photoshop 2023, and I believe that does not have Generative Fill and Generative Expand. And if it does, it's like a limited version or something.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
I don't think it does. But of course, the Photoshop beta version, which is, I believe, now 25.1, that does have Generative Fill and Generative Expand. But I don't think you can use that. You cannot use that for commercial use. So anything in the beta versions in Adobe, most likely you cannot use for commercial use. They are things that are still experimental and updating and revising.
Right.
So Clown did not work. So I click on Generative Fill.
And I wonder if maybe it was the selection. I don't know if you changed it. It's like,
I think the selection's good. Let's just think of another.
Your selection's fine. I was just wondering if maybe the Clown was kind of, I don't know.
Okay.
You got one more question?
Let's see. Steven says a gladiator.
Gladiator.
So
Sean had a question. Got time for a quick question here?
Sure.
You show how to move and lock the selection bar. The contextual tag.
Let me show you that. I'm just doing a quick generate.
Yeah. That's easy, Steve. Sean.
So the gladiator is very. What's up with the one leg thing?
Well, right? I mean, see what happened. There was this lion.
What's up with the one leg? They really don't like that. So the good news is I can turn it off in the in the layers panel.
Yeah.
And go back to this wonderful version. Now here's a good point to note. If you had the gladiator layer selected, and you turn it off, and then you click on the other one. Once you click on that layer itself, then you will get the variations. But if you were still clicked on the gladiator layer or the other layer in general, you would notice that the variations are connected to that, even if you don't have the eye on. So as long as you click on that layer, the variations in the properties panel are related to that particular generative fill series. So click here, and then we're back to that. Okay, so in terms of the contextual taskbar, so the contextual taskbar I find a little bit invasive.
Right.
And so,
sure.
I tend to, one of the first things I do is, it depends on your screen view. So if you have a regular screen view, it might look like that. Sometimes when you go like that, sometimes we'll jump down. But what I tend to do is the minute I jump in and I have an image open and I see that it's on top of my image, which I consider invasive, I will bring it underneath. Right. And then when I go to the three dots and I click on the three dots, you'll see that you can, well, it's hard for me when I'm zoomed in. I can go to pin bar position. So when I choose pin bar position, that means even if I go to any other image that I have open, it stays in that position.
Right.
And obviously, if you click on those three dots, you can also hide the bar. You can reset the bar position. And then with the image you're working on, you can rate it good, poor, report the variations. So if you felt that it was, I guess, beyond poor or it did something obscene.
Right.
And then you can delete the variation if you want to kind of start fresh.
Right.
And then more properties. It just shows you the properties panel, type of thing. So
nice.
So now let me jump back over here to the room and let John have some fun. Would you like to have some fun now, John?
Yeah, I would.
And before John is allowed,
yes, go ahead and answer this question.
So first, Steve says, are the generate fill and generate expand results counted as use of credits? Yes. So for now, I believe it's somewhat unlimited, but starting November 1st, that's where you will see notifications about how many credits you have based on your plan. And I believe every time you do like a new generative fill, or even put in a new prompt for generative fill, you will be using a credit.
Yeah, anytime you click that generate button.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And then Sean says, is there any way to lock it indefinitely, the contextual taskbar? I don't think so. Like if you were to lock it and then you open up various images, it'll stay there. But the minute you quit Photoshop and then open it again, you'll have to reset locking it. Okay. And now let's add John.
It's a lovely picture. So this is a beautiful place. This was on our way up to Pikes Peak in Colorado. Nice. And I'm going to show you a family slideshow. Okay, next one. Here's me eating a taco. No, okay, all right. So you see that it is kind of a portrait shot because I just kind of was trying to be artsy with my iPhone here. And I don't know, that's about as artsy as I get, ladies and gentlemen. So if we decide that, hey, what would it look like as a panorama type of shot? Well, before you would never know before Generative Expand, but hey, now in this glorious day and age, so I'm going to hit C, which is the shortcut for crop. Okay, and you see I have my contextual taskbar down here, right there. Boop. Can you see my zoom ins here? There, like there.
I can't see your contextual taskbar. Where is that?
It is down at the very bottom. Here, I'll move it up. Is that better? Ta-da! It says Generative Expand. Can you?
No, I don't see it. Did you choose full screen when you did your screen sharing?
You know what? I didn't. Here, let's have a brief musical interlude.
Right. So go back here and then.
A brief musical interlude. So I'm going to stop
screen sharing, then choose entire screen.
Yeah, we'll do my entire.
It's a little weird. It's just kind of a little weird when it comes to like things that are out on the fringe, such as taskbar menus.
My bad. I've just got this gigantic monitor, and I didn't want to.
Okay, here we go.
Is that better?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. So let's see. So
all right,
there it is. I can see
it.
Now
you should see, and then I'm going to zoom in. Can you? Are my zoom ins working? Can you see?
Yep. Zoom in and Generative Expand.
Yep, there it is, right there. Cool. All right. So what I'm going to do is I press C for my crop tool, or you could just go over here to the toolbar and do that.
Cool.
I want to make it. Let's say you have your choices here. You have a drop-down menu in the contextual taskbar, and you can do this ratio, which means it's kind of just a free form. Or no, it'll maintain that ratio. My bad. You can do with height times resolution, which just kind of lets you just do whatever you want. I think just for fun, let's try like a 16:9 aspect ratio. It's going to do that, but I'm just going to bring it up here.
Right. So it'll crop his image, but it will expand.
That's right. Hence the name Generative Expand. So you see that, see now it's like a wide aspect right there.
Okay, but to correct what I just said, it would crop your image if he had it towards the top like he did originally, but he pulled it down. So now that it's pulled down,
that's right.
It will do his entire image.
That's right, because I wanted that aspect ratio, and so yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so here I'm going to click the magic button, generate. Are we ready? And we'll see what happens. And it's thinking. I'm thinking.
Progress.
Generating. Up here, we're progress generating.
You need to have something cute for that.
I do. I need a little some game show music, maybe.
No, for their progress bar.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That's excellent.
Now, oh, look at that. Not too bad. We have other choices here too, so that's not bad. I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So in the properties panel, he's got 3 options.
Yes. You also can do it down here. There's little arrows.
Oh, nice. Good point. Thank you.
You can do that if you want to and cycle through. And if you're still not satisfied, it's like, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. You could always hit the old generate button again.
Nice.
But I mean, these aren't bad. So we got a little more rock on this one, and just kind of
pretty awesome, really.
Yeah, we kind of got this low lying. It looks like it's like a water table or something down here, and that one's kind of neat. I'm kind of digging that. We got a little bit of everything there.
Can you take a question, John?
I would be glad to. I'll do my best.
So Dennis asks, how is the detail you're getting?
That's a good
question. Zoom in, is it
okay? So yeah, it's not always matchy uppy. So you can see that there's some. So it might need a little tweaking. But I mean, if you're going to post this on Facebook or something like that, yeah, great. But yeah, there's still probably some Photoshop skill involved here. In fact, to address that point, I'll show you. I ran into this when I was playing around with this very same image last night in preparation for today. And so, okay, we're going to just, well, I won't get rid of it just yet. I'll just let it kind of hang out there. I ended up doing this.
Nice.
So I used a little bit of everything here. Used a little bit of generative expand. And then what I did was I used the lasso tool, as Andrew and I are so fond of, and drew a line do some shapes just all along here. Like that, something like that. And then they see you have the generative fill pops up here at the bottom. See there? So yeah, I want to do generative fill. And what would I like to generate? I'd like roaring rapids. I already got my result, but I'll kind of just do it again so you can see. I also did a sky replace. So just for grants, just to show that some more different Photoshop AI. So hey, yeah, not bad.
I like that orange glow sky. Yeah.
Yeah, the original sky was real blue, and I just thought I'd do something dramatic. And plus, I did a generative fill right up here, and just typed in the word hawk, and it made a little birdie up in the sky. Piece of cake. So if I want to do it again, could do say eagle. Do an eagle this time. Hit generate, and I don't know. We'll see what kind of results we get. What is pretty cool is that a lot of times it will.
That's great. Yeah.
Pretty good. Oh, it's coming right at us. Yeah. So,
first one I think is a most natural kind of pose. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, yeah, you can move this contextual taskbar. Is that what we call it? Contextual text. Easy for me to say.
So, so there's a couple of questions I'm just going to answer. So
please do.
Someone asked, will there be a replay for this? So always we have the replay. It's always recorded. So it goes to my Digital Art Drew YouTube channel. So please consider subscribing. But I will be sharing that link to the groups and the event pages after this is done. And then there is a question from Glenn about, can I delete the 24/7 and beta? So what I tend to do is, unless you don't have to, like you have enough space on your hard drive, I like to keep the previous 24.7 version and the beta version. So what will happen is, especially if you're working on client work and you're working in the latest 25.0 version, if for any reason it gets buggy or you can't open it, whatever, you have the 24.7 version and you even have the beta version. So if you have the space on your hard drive, I would keep all three. But if you don't have the space, you can, technically uninstall. So I wouldn't just delete. I would go to the apps, and then you open up the folder and you choose uninstall that particular version of Photoshop. And then you can always go back to your Adobe Creative Cloud app and reinstall any versions or previous versions.
Yeah. And one word to the wise, don't do what I did. And do what Andrew does. Always back up your brushes, your custom shapes, brushes,
That's a good point.
Radiance and so forth, like that. All those things that you've built up, and make sure you save a backup of those so you can put them in the new version.
Right. So
I didn't do that.
Right. So a little feedback on that. What I tend to do is I have a folder on my desktop for presets and plugins. So it might be just called Photoshop presets and plugins. And that's where I keep my actions and my brushes and etc. And so I've noticed that in the last couple years, I don't remember doing it so much in the past, but I do have noticed it lately. In the last couple of years, when you do an update and you open up the new version, you do have to reinstall actions and presets and plugins and brushes, whatever. So I keep it on my desktop for very easy access. And the truth is, those files are usually pretty small, like kilobytes. I don't think they're like megabytes large or anything.
Yeah.
So that's just easy access, and then you can drag them over into the correct folders and then relaunch your Photoshop.
Fortunately, I had all that stuff, but I had to go digging through it, and it didn't prepare me. I wasn't prepared to have to do that. So you may have to do that when you install the 2024 version.
Yeah, and then of course, word to the wise, I would always make sure that you have your hard drive, and then say it's on your desktop. Make sure you back that up to like any backup external drive you have.
Oh,
And then beyond that, I would make sure that you subscribe to Backblaze. I'm a big fan of Backblaze
yes.
cloud backups. I had a really bad scenario happen where it completely saved my life. I had been telling people about it for so long. Backblaze, I really like Backblaze. And then one time,
Same, yeah.
what happened was I put in an external drive. It said, "Do you want to make it your time machine?" I'm on a Mac. I said yes. And then I made that my time machine. And then I had my main external drive with like my life on it.
Mm.
And I put in a new external drive that I was going to format with disk utility to be my main new drive. And I was going to drag everything over.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that asked if I wanted to make a time machine. And I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And then I clicked on it with disk utility to reformat it. So you erase and reformat. And it somehow reached out and erased my main drive with my life on it. So at first my heart sank. And then I realized, wait a second, you've been preaching to everyone about Backblaze. So I went to Backblaze, and then you can just get like a downloadable file, or they will send you an external drive. And the thing I don't know if it's changed, but the thing that's really generous about them, when they send you that external drive, if you then put that on your own drive and you send that back, I think they refund. Yeah, I think they might refund your money if you don't keep that drive. But why not keep the drive, right, John?
That's right. I still have mine, the Iron Giant, as I called it. But yeah, I have a very similar story, and so I highly recommend it as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So can I have some fun with
I don't know. Should we let Andrew have any fun?
Can I do some generative?
Let's vote right now. Okay, go ahead. It's your program, man. We're all just along for the ride
It's
here.
our program.
We're along
Andrew
for
and
the ride.
John's program.
Well, all right then.
Okay, so here I'm in Photoshop. So these are pretty good, and then, obviously if you like what you did, I would always, just as a kind of professional way of working, I would always save as a Photoshop version first, and then save a flattened JPEG of the version you like. These are just examples, so I'm just going to not save, just close them. But I would always save the Photoshop version, especially if you wanted to showcase to others how successful Generative Fill. So in this case, I might end up just doing that. So I might say, let's see, keep the name of the stock image and just type in Generative Fill at the end and save.
Okay, quick question from Sarah. Good question, Sarah. As the team's admin, can I control who gets access to our AI credits? Or does each user get a specific amount?
I think you cannot. I think like what it is you can tell them as a team's admin. I think you can tell them that each team member has a certain amount, and that, like I said, should begin in November 1st.
Right.
So you might have to say, okay, you have 500 or 1,000 or whatever. So you might let them know. But I do think that's also an excellent question to ask Adobe support.
Yeah.
Because
I was
going to say, if you don't already have that ability, they might take that into consideration and make a change so you will have that ability to do it in the future.
Short answer, really don't know for sure, but I think that'd be really helpful, especially if you're the admin and you want to control that stuff. Right.
So in my case, I'm going to open up. So I think I even saw this image when I opened up Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a nice little house in Iceland.
Oh man, yeah, that's my house.
It's a nice house.
No, it's not my house.
And so if I just simply choose the crop tool. And then one thing I wanted to go over that sometimes people might overlook when they go to use Generative Expand is if for any reason you don't see it like in your contextual taskbar, make sure you look in your options bar. Mm-hmm. So if you choose your crop tool and, it does still say Generative Expand, but it might say transparent default, or it might say content aware fill. And so if I then go here and I expand, both sides, and let's see if it works though after all. So I have it set to content aware fill. If I hit the check mark, it still does a good job. So, but you'll notice that in the layers panel, it just says Iceland, the name of the file. So I think it might have just done a content aware fill, and therefore I don't get, as you can see in the properties panel, I don't get variations. So if I go back, and here I am back, and I switch the fill option to Generative Expand, then I choose the crop tool. So let me go from, and I open up both sides and the top, and then I just hit generate in the contextual taskbar at the bottom. You'll notice it's now say generating. So I can also see in the layers panel, it's created a generative expand layer. And there it is, the variations in the properties panel. So that's one thing to be aware of.
Sweet.
That, if for any reason you do not see variations in the properties panel or a generative expand layer in your layers panel, check your options bar to see what kind of fill the crop was defaulting to.
Oh yeah. Boy, that's a good point. Also, I noticed at first, for some reason, my contextual text bar, why can't I say it?
I jump over that all the time too, like fumble it.
The contextual text bar. Anyway, you had go up to Windows, your window, excuse me, what singular, and then yeah, and scroll down.
Yeah,
there it is.
Contextual
taskbar. Huge. Yeah.
Even though it is a contextual taskbar, I wish they would just change it to taskbar.
Yeah, I get it though.
Don't tongue tie me.
More than one
Don't twist my tongue for me. Hello.
I'm sorry. I'm just messing it up for everyone. Now everyone's going to be like,
I'm talking about Adobe. Adobe's tongue twisting me.
Just making it worse for everyone.
So when you go to the properties panel, once again, you have the 3 versions.
Yeah.
Which I think all of them are great.
Beautiful.
And then as John reminded me earlier, in the contextual taskbar.
Oh no, it's contagious.
You have the 1 through 3 numbers, so you can just hit the right arrow to cycle through. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And then do know that if you've done Generative Expand, you're not limited there. So if you then go and you grab your lasso tool, and that might be a little large, so let me do a smaller. So what bird might be flying in Iceland, John?
Let's see. Well, they have those cute little puffins, but those don't count. Let's see. What do they have?
Well, let's see if they'll have a flying puffin.
Yeah.
So if I click on Generative Fill at the bottom on the contextual taskbar.
Contextual. Don't they have hawks?
I'm going to say flying.
Heck, put a condor in there. Let's get majestic.
I want to see if they have flying puffin.
Oh yeah, there we go. Indigenous.
Hit generate.
Besides the puffin. Okay, so what we get here. A parrot. Yes.
There's a flying puffin.
That's
you asked for it. You got it.
Oh, look at.
Not sure if it exists, but it exists now. Thanks
to now
Generative Fill in Photoshop.
Makes it possible. It has happened. Put penguin.
Thank you so much, Generative Fill. You've created a flying puffin. I like that it has like different directions too. You got going from to left, going to right. I think this one's best though. Now, one thing to also note when you do Generative Fill, when you create something like this, you type in what the prompt is, you generate. Do be aware that if you wanted to move it around, even though it looks great in its original place, the minute you move it around, you'll notice that it has part of the background with it.
Yes.
So you might have to go back into the mask and clean it up, or you might move it to where you want, and then you would hit generate again.
Right.
And get a new puffin.
But it's nice that it gives you that mask so you can tweak the mask if you need to. So, which I often do.
But I really like this flying puffin. So I'm gonna have to save a JPEG and post it into the group.
Those things are so cute. I mean, I'll tell you what. We had a question about system requirements, minimum RAM recommended, looking to upgrade. All right, that'd be great. I think
would you like to jump in and have some generative fill fun since you did
the minimum is 8 gig, I believe. But I would say 16 or at least 16, maybe 32 if you can swing it.
Yeah, minimum RAM recommended, and then as Suzanne said, there is
there you go.
System requirements.
Thank you.
And nowadays, as everyone knows, Google search is so good that you could just type in like Photoshop 25.0 system requirements, or memory requirements or something.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And John, you want to have fun? You want to do some generative fill?
Do I? I would like to bake a cake right here, a little digital cake for you. All right, so
I created a flying puffin. Now
you sure did.
What are you going to create?
Well, all right. Okay. I'm going to try something that Terry White did.
Yeah, this is cool.
And he used generative fill to retouch photos, and not retouch. Well, you can use it for that, but it's great for that, by the way. But I mean, there's other tools in Photoshop, and that's the great thing about Photoshop. There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? But used it for like restoring a damaged photo. So
you've already made a selection on the cheek. Right?
Yeah, I kind of got a little head start here. I did. Because I didn't want to bore you with all my little selections. So what I'm doing is I'm holding down the Shift key and I'm adding to my little selection with the lasso tool. And we'll not do the whole thing, but we'll just try some of this stuff and just see what kind of stuff we do. So you can see I'm going over the damaged, creased, kind of crackly parts and seeing how generative fill interprets all this hoo-ha.
It's a great idea to use it for retouching. Like you might not even think of doing that.
I have really had to seeing Terry White do that I never considered it for this kind of thing. But sure, I mean, why not? I think it'd do a beautiful job and probably save you some time. And that's the whole. I guess that's why we're here, right? Saving time. Okay, I'm going to click Generative Fill. I'm not going to do the whole thing. So. And I don't need to really type in a prompt, so let's just generate. See what happens. Could be horrifying.
Here we go.
Go, ladies and germs. I don't know.
I don't have the sound effects that you have though.
See, that's pretty good.
Yeah, very good.
Stinking good. So we got some slight,
and it gives you 3 variations as well, right?
That is correct, sir.
Very cool.
So definitely better, way better. And of course, you can go in and tweak that because this is Photoshop after all.
So can you do a quick selection of the horizontal tear at the bottom? I want to see how it does on the rips there too.
Yeah. You know what?
Great job. Yeah.
Challenge accepted, sir.
Thank you.
Good day to you, sir. I said good day. No, I'm sorry. Okay. Why not? You know what?
Add verticals.
Sure. Why not? Golly.
I said good day.
Yeah, that's right. Get rid of that. Boop, maybe some of that. I don't know. Now I'm just getting.
Now he's getting crazy.
Nitpicky here. And then I said I wouldn't do that. So let's just do that. Okay. So we'll generative fill that mofo.
It's generate.
All right. Here we go. And so this could be tough if you were doing this like the normal way, because you've got
wow, that's pretty good, huh?
Seemed to be a problem for generative fill. I mean, look at there, just did it. So yeah, again, got some options. I like.
Takes a lot of time out of the whole retouching process.
Man, right? Doesn't it though? I love that, and I love saving time. And I like ice cream. So you have more time to eat ice cream, I guess. So
it'll do such a good job that you want to go out and get ice cream.
It does. I'm kind of in a celebratory mood right now. Not celebratory.
Well, I'm going to an opening at the Leica Gallery tomorrow, so I'm probably going to have some
red wine. That'll be fun. I hope you take some pictures.
Yeah,
take pictures of the photograph gallery. That'd be kind of meta, but
that's right. Photos of the photos.
Yeah. Boy, that sounds like
pretty cool, huh?
So yeah, pretty cool. And of course,
Pretty cool.
pretty cool. And of course, by now everybody knows about the neural filters.
Can I make a request?
I guess. I mean, yeah. I'm
Can
not
I
gonna
put
take my
you to
shirt
the
off.
test and make a request?
Sure, go
Put you
ahead.
to the test and make a request.
Go ahead.
So it did a great job retouching with Generative Fill, but since we're doing both Generative Fill and Generative Expand,
Oh,
I'm just extremely curious to see what happens if you do a Generative Expand of the top part of his hat, and
okay.
maybe also the left side or
Okay.
maybe the right side, to see if it extends his. I'm not sure if you can just do like expand beyond. Yeah. So
yeah. So I'm just gonna
bring that down so
keep
there.
this so that we have our bottom.
So will it rebuild his hat?
That is
That is the question.
awesome question. Let's find out. Okay, so drum roll, maestro.
Generative Expand. That's pretty cool, huh?
Wow. Wow, amazing. Yeah, fantastic. So
That's good, right? The second one looks maybe even better.
I like the second one as well. That is yeah, I'm not
Pretty cool.
entirely sure about the his
So what about the right side? Can you do his
yeah, let's while we're at it, let's see.
Now Kim says, could you post the new versions that include the Generative Fill for all the apps? Not Kim, can you let me know what you mean? Did you want to know which number version to get these accessibilities, or are you asking new versions like the credit information?
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try this. Okay, so it's generating. I guess I guess we're committed now. Here we go. So yeah, I was thinking there wasn't much to add to his shoulder. So I think what I'll have to do.
What about the right side though? Can you try it on the right side and see if he rebuilds?
Oh, sure. So
not with a lasso, but does Generative Expand?
Oh, okay. This is a bold move here.
And before you do that, let me just answer Kim's question. So yeah, the number of versions. So once again, the version for Photoshop is version 25.0. And then when you go to your Adobe Creative Cloud to make that update, it will tell you this update contains new Adobe Firefly-powered features, Generative Fill, and Generative Expand, and updates to the Remove tool. Which now I'm curious about updates to the Remove tool.
I am too.
Cool. So
maybe we can give it a
right side.
Okay, here we go. We're blowing this out a little bit.
Nice.
And generate. Expand your minds. Woo! It's almost done, folks. Here we go. And
whoa. A little bizarre, but what about the second version?
He's got some beefy shoulder. He was a bodybuilder. Get to the chopper.
What about second or third version? Any? That's not too bad. It's a little
not too bad. Maybe it's because I expanded too much with my crop. So if I go back to my history and try it again, I wonder if maybe I just don't go out so much. Just don't go too crazy with it.
Oh yeah, updates to the Remove tool, as Suzanne states, is now considered the brasso, the brush lasso.
Ooh.
So give that a try, everybody, or maybe we'll show a little example of that. Brasso.
Okay. Yeah, so it's still not. You could again.
Not bad. It's not bad at all.
A little bit of TLC. You could go in and make all this a little bit better, of course, because
it looks pretty good.
But yeah, it's definitely a massive time saver. So
cool.
And now my OCD is kicking in. I've got to at least get rid of that right there. Just get rid of that guy. Okay. And just like that, it's going to get rid of that big scratch, creasy thing. Of course, you can go in with, wasn't exactly perfect. Oh, I think maybe because I have so many generative fill things. Normally, I wouldn't recommend this, but I'm just going to flatten it. I'm working destructively here. So, sorry. Sorry, everybody. Working
Oh
this
my
up here.
gosh.
I know. It goes against our very core of our being. Flattening your image like that. How dare you?
So Dana asks, where do I find the information regarding credits? So as I said, that was kind of a glimpse of what's coming in November. I will be sharing 2 links to the event pages, the groups, and to where this recording will be on my Digital Art Drew YouTube channel. And those links will have the information about, Adobe Firefly generative credits, as well as the updates and pricing and credit info for the Adobe apps. Yep.
There you go.
Wow, that looks good. Colorized.
I
Nice.
just went ahead. Yeah, there you go. Neural filter. Okay.
Now, can I jump in and try the Brasso?
I'm sorry?
Can I jump in and try the Brasso?
Oh, I thought you'd never say yes. You better.
Let's see. The Brasso.
Brasso.
Okay, so I'm just going to stay in this image for now, but I'm going to go to the bottom layer. And then let's see. If I go to the remove tool. Okay, so I selected the remove tool, and then this came up. Use this tool like a brush or a lasso. I wanted to showcase that, and it went away.
Oh, man.
Okay.
We caught the gist of it.
So here I am in that. So maybe I'll just see about switching over. So if I'm in the spot healing tool and I go to remove tool, there it is.
There it
So
is.
use this tool like a brush lasso, brush over a circle around an area to remove it. Brush over or circle. So in this case, I'm just going to brush over the house.
Right. It's just going to be
and it's showing you that's removing it.
a picture of a mountain.
The brush lasso, the Brasso.
I've played with the Brasso before.
It's a little slow, but I imagine it'll do a great job, though.
There's a lot of computation going on in the background. I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, did a good job.
Did a great job.
Now, do remember, since it was the remove tool, that's all you get. So that happens right onto the bottom layer. You do not get like a generative fill type of layer where you have 3 variations and you can turn it on or off. So that's the only bad thing about using the remove tool. It's technically destructive.
Right.
What I might have done differently is I might have just created a copy of the bottom layer.
Yeah,
and
control
do it on that. But that's the Brasso or brush lasso with the remove tool.
Still awesome.
Still awesome. Like John.
Like I was going to say,
awesome.
like Andrew.
John's awesome.
How weird is that?
Well, thanks. I thought it was great. I think we went through a lot of stuff. And so let's give some shout outs.
Shout out.
First is so thanks everyone for being here. And once again, yes, I will post the link to the recording in the Facebook groups and in the event pages. You can also subscribe to my Digital Art Drew YouTube channel, which I'll get to. But you can find John on Facebook at facebook.com/Pixelingo Media, on Behance at Pixelingo, behance.net. And
I haven't been on Behance in a while. Sorry.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up with all of the social networks, right? I mean, there's Threads now, and Twitter changed to X. And
what's that all about?
And then Instagram, you can follow John at instagram.com/PixelingoJW. So do consider subscribing for more Photoshop and Lightroom and or AI art and digital art focused live streams and tutorials on my YouTube, youtube.com/digitalartdrew. That's Digital Art Drew on YouTube. Digital Art Drew on YouTube. If it didn't sink into your brain yet. And then come follow, like my digital artist Andrew Kavanagh page on Facebook, where I always have updates and news about like new updates like today, as well as I share my digital art and will share my live events that I do with John and other friends. That's facebook.com/digitalartistdrew. You may have watched this through my Photoshop and Lightroom group, but if you haven't joined already, consider joining the Photoshop and Lightroom group, facebook.com/groups, Photoshop Lightroom group. It's about 362.5 thousand members, pretty active group. And then you might have also watched this through my AI art and digital art group. And John is also a helpful admin of those groups.
That's right,
John.
Like the P's and Q's.
So that you can join the AI art and digital art group at facebook.com/groups, AI art digital art group. So yes, thanks everybody. And let's see. So my friend Miria says, thank you very much. Lynn says, thank you, John and Andrew. This was fun to see. Thank you. And Suzanne, a great day to be an Adobe user. Thanks, guys. Nice.
Very exciting. Exciting times we're living in.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And Dana says, thank you.
Welcome.
Yes. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I thought it was a great one.
Thank you.
Sarah says, very exciting tools. Thanks for highlighting them for us. Yeah, I think me and John are a good team.
I don't know.
Adobe community experts and Adobe Express ambassador.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, definitely. This guy.
This guy.
Look, who's that?
Thanks for going to all the trouble.
No trouble at all. Thank you.
So yeah, just keep your eye on the top pin post of the groups for live events, contests, news and updates, general information, Adobe information. So thanks everyone for attending. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you, Andrew.
Keep your eye on the top pin post in the groups for the link to the recording as well. Thanks you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.